village lay nestled between towering mountains, shrouded in mist every morning. It was a place where tradition dictated one's fate. If you were born into a family of farmers, you farmed. If you were born into a family of fishermen, you fished. And if you were born into a family of blacksmiths, you forged steel. Noah was the son of an old blacksmith. He was a lean, wiry boy with deep brown eyes that held a quiet determination, though his frame lacked the strength expected of a blacksmith's heir. His hands, though unscarred by hard labor, often trembled under the weight of the heavy tools he struggled to wield. Yet beneath his small stature and hesitant grip lay a mind restless with dreams of proving himself. His father, Elias, was known as the strongest man in the village. With hands as firm as iron and a heart as steady as stone, Elias had spent decades forging weapons, tools, and armor for warriors and farmers alike. Everyone respected him, but Noah was different. He was small for his age, his hands too soft, his arms too weak. Whenever he tried to lift the hammer, his grip would fail and the villagers would shake their heads. "The blacksmith's son who cannot forge. What a disgrace," they would whisper. Noah heard them, and each word was like an ember scorching his soul. He felt trapped in a fate he did not choose, burdened by expectations he could not meet. One evening, as he sat by the forge, staring at the unshaped metal on the anvil, his father spoke without looking up from his work. "Noah, do you know how steel becomes strong?" Noah hesitated. "Through fire?" Elias nodded. "But not just fire. It must be beaten, bent, and shaped. It must endure pressure and pain. Only then does it become something unbreakable." Noah clenched his fists. "But what if the metal is too weak? What if it breaks?" Elias looked at his son with eyes filled with wisdom. "Then it was never meant to be a sword. But the strongest steel is not the one that starts strongest, is the one that survives the fire the longest." Noah wanted to believe those words, but doubt clung to him like soot. He spent the next few months trying, failing, and trying again. Every time he swung the hammer, his arms burned. Every time he lifted a piece of metal, his fingers ached. The villagers mocked him. Even some of his own friends began to drift away. His father, though patient, did not intervene. He merely watched, waiting to see if Noah would choose to endure or surrender. One day, after a particularly humiliating failure where he dropped the hammer on his own foot, pain exploding up his leg, leaving him gasping, Noah ran into the woods. His face burned with shame, his hands trembling, not just from the sting in his foot, but from the weight of disappointment crushing his chest. He couldn't bear the thought of facing the villagers' sneers, nor the silent, knowing gaze of his father. He wanted to disappear, to escape the reality that he was not yet strong enough. As he wandered, he heard a strange sound, a rustling, a flapping. He followed it until he found a small eagle, barely old enough to fly, struggling at the edge of a cliff. It flapped its wings desperately, trying to lift itself, but each time it fell back, trembling. Noah watched, mesmerized. "Why don't you stop?" he whispered to the bird. "You're too weak. Just give up." The eagle did not answer, of course. It only flapped again, and again, and again. Each time, it fell. Each time, it struggled. But it never stopped. Noah stood there for what felt like hours. Then, something changed. The eagle, despite its failures, caught the wind beneath its wings. And this time, it didn't fall. It soared. Noah felt something stir inside him. Watching the eagle rise against the wind, he saw a reflection of his own struggles. The bird had failed, again and again. Yet it had not surrendered to weakness. It had found its strength in persistence. A realization gripped him. Perhaps he had been looking at failure the wrong way. It was not a sign to stop, but a lesson to continue. With renewed fire in his chest, he ran back home, breathless, determined. He no longer cared how long it would take, how much pain he would endure. He would swing the hammer 1,000 times, fail 1,000 times, until he became strong. He began waking up before dawn, lifting small weights to strengthen his arms. He practiced gripping the hammer over and over until his fingers bled. And every night, he returned to the forge, listening to the rhythm of his father's hammer and mimicking every movement. The villagers continued to doubt him, whispering behind his back, but he no longer paid them any mind. His father, still silent, watched with a knowing gaze. Months passed. The calluses on Noah's hands thickened. His arms grew stronger. His swings became steadier. His failures, though still frequent, became lessons rather than setbacks. The day finally came when his father handed him a piece of raw iron and said, "Show me." Noah's heart pounded. He heated the metal, watched it glow red, and lifted the hammer. It felt different this time, lighter, as if his body had finally accepted its destiny. With a deep breath he struck. The sound rang through the forge. Again, and again, and again. Each strike carried not just force, but resilience. Not just strength, but determination. By dawn, a blade lay before him. It was rough, its edges uneven, with tiny imperfections marking its surface. Yet it held a glimmer of promise. The metal bore the evidence of his struggles each strike, each moment of doubt, and each drop of sweat embedded within its core. It was not the finest blade the village had ever seen, but it was his, a testament to his resilience and transformation. His father picked it up, examined it carefully, then smiled. "The fire did not break you, Noah. It made you." Noah smiled, feeling the weight of the journey behind him. He understood now. Strength was never about being born powerful. It was about enduring the fire, about never giving up no matter how many times you fall. Just like the eagle, just like the steel. Lessons from the story. 1. Hardship is necessary for growth. Just like steel needs fire and pressure to become strong, we need challenges to shape us. Every challenge, failure, or setback is an opportunity to refine ourselves and become stronger versions of who we are meant to be. 2. Failure is not the end. The eagle did not fly on its first attempt, nor did Noah succeed the first time he held a hammer. Persistence is the key to mastery. It's not about how many times you fail, but how many times you get back up and try again. 3. Strength is built, not given. No one is born strong. Strength is earned through perseverance, discipline, and time. Every struggle faced with determination adds to our resilience, just as the fire forges the strongest steel. 4. You define your destiny. The world may doubt you, people may mock you, and circumstances may test you, but only you decide whether to quit or keep going. The moment you choose to persist despite the hardships, you begin shaping your own fate. 5. Your struggles have purpose. Just like the fire that forges steel, every hardship you face is preparing you for something greater. Without adversity, there is no growth. Without challenge, there is no triumph. 6. Endurance leads to transformation. Growth does not happen overnight. It takes time, effort, and a relentless spirit. Those who keep pushing forward despite the odds will one day find themselves soaring. If you are struggling today, if you feel weak, remember Noah, remember the eagle, and remember, the fire is not here to destroy you, it is here to make you unbreakable. Now, ask yourself, are you ready to face the fire?